It is 6 p.m. and I'm going to call the meeting to order. It is 6 p.m. Sorry, out of order. This is the regular meeting of the Kaneland Board of Education. We'd like to inform all board meeting attendees that this meeting is being live streamed and archived for access at any time by our community members on the internet within 24 to 48 hours of the meeting's conclusion. At this time, we would like to have a moment of silence in support of the Liskowski Cammy's family, excuse my pronunciation, who are part of the Kaneland family. They were involved in a car accident on their way home from spring break last week and tragically lost their son, Jordan. So at this time, we're going to take a minute to have a moment of silence and honor them. Okay. Let's proceed to the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. McCauley.
Hello.
Keep pointing toes today.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And a roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Here.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Here.
Mr. Kleisner.
Here.
Mr. Cook.
Here.
Dr. Lawler.
Here.
Mr. McCauley.
Here.
Mrs. Simmons.
Here.
Okay, with 7 members present, we have a quorum. At this time, is there anything the board would like to move from consent to new business on the agenda? Okay. I'd like to make a note that we have amended the original agenda for closed session to include Section 2C9, Student Discipline, and Section 2C11, Litigation. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook. Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. The agenda is approved. It is now time for the board/superintendent salutes. I'll turn it over to Dr. Rolwing.
Good evening. We have a number of exciting salutes today. We are going to start with Mr. Faulkner.
I thought you guys would have walk-up music. Hey, thanks for having us. I'm filling in for Patty Patterman. She was unable to make it due to a track commitment. So before I bring Coach Wilkinson and Alex up here to talk about all the great things he accomplished, I wanted to just share a few quick numbers with you. We actually had 127 athletes participate during the winter season, which is pretty awesome. That's boys basketball, girls basketball, and wrestling. So we had 40 in boys basketball. Huge highlight for 7th grade is that we took second place, not 7th, second place in conference. And then for girls basketball, we had 32 a part of our teams. And then the celebration is 8th grade also took second place in conference. So a successful winter season. However, it doesn't end there. Coach Wilkinson, you want to come up to the podium, please?
Ladies and gentlemen of the board, thank you for having us. Terry Wilkinson, assistant wrestling coach here at Harder Middle School. I'd like to thank you for recognizing all of our great and outstanding athletes that we have here at Harder Middle School in our wrestling program. We had what I believe is an outstanding team and a very, very good program this year. And just, want to just say that we did a really great job representing who we are as Knights this season as well. Overall, our team was full of hard workers. We had just a ton of success stories this year. We finished our season 4th on the NCJC conference, which may not sound like the most successful thing, but when you reflect on the fact that you had 2 of the 3 teams that finished above us place 2nd and 5th in the IESA state tournament, I think that kind of reflects on we did a pretty good job as well. So we overall we had just as finishers, so he gets to join his brother on our banner of honor hanging in the gym, which is an outstanding goal for him this year. And by the way, he's got a little sister sitting back there. That's her goal too. Just truth be told. All right. What's great about Alex is that he just puts in an amazing amount of time, not just during the regular season, but also in the off season. So prior to this school year, Alex was selected as part of Team Illinois' 12U freestyle and Greco. Those were the Olympic styles, dual team in which he competed in Omaha, Nebraska. And so he's involved in a lot of things. He's also involved in a club in which he attends those practices after he attends the middle school practices. So yeah, maybe some of his or a lot of his success is attributed to Alex's dedication to practicing up to 2 times a day. And it just really has yielded some massive positive results. Because just a few short weeks after finishing as the conference champion, Alex competed in the IKWF state tournament, placing 8th in the novice division at a bumped up 93 pounds. So Alex is an outstanding wrestler and an outstanding knight. So best of all, he's going to be returning to us next year. He's only a 7th grader. So we have another year with Alex, and needless to say, our future is bright. So great job, Alex, and our entire Knights wrestling program.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Mr. Rollman from Kaneland High School is up next.
Thank you, Dr. Rolwing, Board of Education. It's always a pleasure to be here, talk about our student athletes. And I'm sure as Dr. Rolwing has commented to you and as have you seen, we are traditionally very successful at Kaneland High School. We're very proud of that fact. We have outstanding athletes and families. We have outstanding coaches. But we may have outdone ourselves and set the bar a little high this winter. I'm very pleased to be here to introduce some of our coaches and some of our athletes that are able to join us. But before we get into winter sports, we have a quick announcement that came across this afternoon. This came from Mr. Bruno. He is our journalism sponsor. We competed in the IHSA Journalism Sectionals on Saturday, April 5th. The award ceremony just happened at 12:15 this afternoon, and we found out that we repeated as sectional champions. We had never won a sectional championship in journalism before last year. We are now back-to-back champions. There are 14 teams in our sectional, the likes of Geneva, St. Charles East, St. Charles North, Yorkville, and McHenry. So we're extremely proud of Mr. Bruno and all of those students. And 10 of our students will then be heading down to the state for the state competition in journalism, which we've done very well in the past with individuals. And we look forward to that. So congratulations to them, and we look forward to doing a Walk of Champions for them in the near future. We also have a science and engineering STEM program called ACES, and we had 2 students that have qualified and will leave on Tuesday night to travel down to Eastern Illinois University to participate in the ACES state competition as well. Coach Amanda Decker, one of our science teachers, is their sponsor as well. She's been fantastic. I have to be honest, her communication is outstanding. And she's got our group headed in the right direction. Again, we're going to recognize them tomorrow with a Walk of Champions. And then some of our groups, our activity groups, chess, scholastic bowl, et cetera, we have invited them to come back and present and talk to you on the 28th as well. So we'll come back to some of those groups. I'm going to start with our girls bowling season. Coach Hessefeld was not able to be here. They were 8-3 overall. They placed at least in the top 10 in every tournament they participated in. We were able to host the IHSA Regional Bowling Tournament this year with 17 teams. We have to give a shout out to Mardi Gras. They are a fantastic partnership with our community, and Brian, the owner, does everything he can for our students and our coaches to make sure we're successful there. Senior Presley Sutherland and Emma Pernice both qualified out of the regional to go on to the sectionals and represent Kaneland there. We did have 5 seniors, including Grace Flincham, who was our senior captain, Presley and Emma, Megan Johnson, and Winnie Phillips, and they've all been with our program for quite some time. So we've got a little rebuilding to do, graduating 5 seniors, but we're looking forward to the beginning, or to a new beginning. Like I said, we placed 2 bowlers in the top 10 at the regionals, advanced 2 seniors to the sectionals, and Kaneland has now advanced at least 1 female bowler to the sectional round or beyond, 1 every the last 4 years. So congratulations to our bowlers. Now I would like to invite Coach Ray up to talk about the boys bowling team. And I believe she's got a couple athletes with.
Hello, thank you for having us. I'm Sarah Ray. I'm the head boys bowling coach and a social studies teacher at Kaneland High School. So just a recap from this past season. We placed 5th in conference, which is last, but that's okay. We had a good time, but there were some positives throughout the season. Senior Nick Casey placed 5th during the conference tournament and was an honorable mention for all conference. And then one thing that I always like to do throughout the season is always keep track of when bowlers bowl like their new personal best, because I see that as a win, even if it's in practice or if it's in a match or a tournament. So I had several boys out of the 10 that I had this year bowl their new highs. Brandon Janisek, who is a senior, he bowled a 277. He had 8 strikes in a row, and then in the 9th frame ended with, he left the 9 pin, which he picked up, but then he almost struck out the 10th, so he ended up with a 277. Freshman Gianni Madonna had a 247. Senior Kenneth Guo bowled a 135. This is somebody who had never bowled competitively before, so for him to have eventually reach that is good. Freshman Tommy Barrett with a 230 and senior Julian Velazquez with a 178. So I had 10 bowlers overall, and I had 7 that are seniors. So 7 seniors and then 3 freshmen, and my 3 freshmen are great, Camden Cornett, Tommy Barrett, and Gianni Madonna. So with them 3, we're going to have a lot of rebuilding to do, but I am confident because those 3 are really, really good, just based on the scores that I mentioned. But I have Brandon Janisek and Ethan Ballhofer here, who are 2 seniors. Ethan's been on the team all 4 years, and Brandon, this was his first year as a senior. But if you guys wanted to say a couple things.
Yeah, I'd like to say my 4 years on the Kaneland bowling team have probably been the most fun years I've had in a long time. I think gave me more chances to do stuff at the school, as not being as athletic as I thought I was going to be. Got to do bowling and I actually really enjoyed it and made some friends along the way.
Sort of my long 1 year of me doing bowling. Wish I knew about it earlier, but I only knew about it by this year when he recruited me junior year. So I came out. It's a lot of fun.
And that is one thing about bowling. A lot of people don't really take it as a very serious competitive sport, but it really is. Like, if you ever have the chance to go to a high school match or a tournament, like, it's packed, way more competitive than people think it is. And usually the people that I do have that join later on in their 4 years of high school, they end up saying that they do wish they did it previously. So we do have a lot of fun. We went to Chili's for our team outing, so that was a good time. It was a good time, but yeah. So thank you very much. Yeah, thanks.
277, Brandon. You started in February? Wow, okay. One observation I've made over the course of several years now with our boys and girls bowling team, and this begins at home with our parents, obviously with our athletes and our coaches. We do want to thank Coach Mike. We had 2 actually volunteer coaches along with our paid coaches, but our coaches do an outstanding job, and our kids, it's really fun to watch. It really is. I got to be honest, the first couple times I went to bowling, I was like, okay, let's see what I'm going to do. But I go to as many as I can because they have such a great time. And the thing that's really interesting is not only are they building that bond in between the teammates, but it's amazing to see another athlete from a team bowl a strike or get a spare pickup, and everybody from our team is congratulating them. So that's an outstanding achievement in itself. So at this time, I'd like to bring up Coach Leckben and Coach Lane and our cheerleaders.
Hi, good evening. My name is Betsy Leckband, and I am the head cheerleading coach at the high school. Before I hand over season highlights to our athletes this evening, we would like to start off with a special thank you to our school board, the sports boosters, administration, our athletic trainer, and our community members for all of your support throughout the season that we couldn't have done it without you.
Okay. Hi, my name is Kristen Johnson.
My name is Mackenzie Cooper.
First, we just wanted to briefly outline our sport for you guys as a refresh. All of our competitions are tournament-like based. We're never just competing against like one competitor. Kaneland is in the medium varsity division based on our school size, which is the most competitive of the cheerleading divisions. Cheer judging is comparative scoring and based on 8 different categories, as well as execution of 4 of those 8 categories.
So this year, cheer competed 6 times with conference included. We are excited that IHSA bylaws have changed for the 2025-2026 season, allowing for 8 preseason comps. For the IHSA State Series, sectionals are assigned randomly into 5 different competitions, all on the same day. Only the top 5 teams per division move on to the state finals.
Now on to some of our highlights. Our first competition was at Oswego High School back in December of 2024. We placed 2nd out of 4 teams with a 74.23.
After some pretty major shifts, changes, and adjustments, we placed 3rd out of 8 at Belvedere with an 84.38, adding over 10 points in difficulty and execution in all of our scales.
Next was Buffalo Grove. We placed 7th out of 21 very competitive teams with an 87.58.
At the I-8 conference, we placed 2nd for the 3rd time in a row with a score of an 88.27, beating Out Rochelle, Ottawa, Sycamore, and LaSalle, Peru.
Medium majors in Grays Lake was up next. We placed 7th out of 21 teams with an 88.95. The same weekend, we competed again at Huntley. We placed 7th out of 17, and we had an 86.18.
Now, onto the IHSA State Series. Our sectional placement this year was down in Central Illinois at Farmington High School. With our new uniforms debut, we had a 0 deduction performance, scoring the highest in school history ever, earning a 90.17. This placed us at 6 out of 15 teams. We were 0.06 points away from going to state. A bittersweet ending to the season for all.
Hi, real quick. My name is Kristen Lane, assistant coach here. We just wanted to bring up some academics now. So we strive, obviously, for our athletes to be all well-rounded, and we encourage lots of participation. And we also understand the importance and stress of school. But we are very overjoyed to share how well our team worked on the mat, and then also how well they did in the classroom. We had 14 out of our 16 athletes, which is 87.5% of our team, earning academic all-conference honors. So that 3.0 or higher, with having every single day cheer and over the weekend. So we're very proud of their academic achievement as well. And then with our 2nd place at conference, we get to recognize 4 all-conference athletes and 1 honorable mention. And this year we had all 5 seniors for those. We had Mackenzie Cooper, Kirsten Johnson, and then also Kelly Engendal, Peyton Walt, Sophia Moran, and that was 5. So we just wanted to share some of those academic highlights as well.
I did also want to briefly call out these 2 athletes right here. Mackenzie not only was all-conference athlete, she is a 4-year varsity sideline cheerleader here at the high school. She also received our Most Spirited Night Award this year. Also at camp this last summer, so cheerleading starts in May and ends in February, but there are technically 2 seasons, however it all overflows. Kenzie did represent not only herself, her coaches, her team, but Kaneland High School, competing with all of the seniors at camp. I don't know how many there were. There were over 300 girls at camp. And she did come home and receiving 3 individual honors that she earned for us. So she made us super proud. And Kirsten here
is a four-year varsity competitive athlete. She's a state qualifier, a three-year academic all-conference, and this year's MVP. Kirsten also represented our cheer team at the traveling assembly this year. We chose Kirsten because we believe that she is an ideal role model for our future Knights. So
That's our season.
Before we move on to girls basketball, I want to take a moment to recognize four individuals that work with us through ABM, our cleaning service: Antonio, Maria, Efrain, and Danielle. They constantly are prepping our facilities, especially during the winter indoors, switching quickly, getting those gyms cleaned up after the day of physical education class and ready for practices for multiple hours. So a lot of work done there, and we really appreciate all the effort that they put in to make us successful. So I also want to put a shout out to Brock Fease, his second year as the Winter Assistant Athletic Director. Brock took on more responsibilities this year than we asked him to. His work with our new scoreboards and being able to do even more things this year with our scoreboards took a lot of off our plate, and we appreciate him very much. And as the cheerleaders spoke as well, we just finished, well, maybe not just finished, but March is Athletic Trainers Month, and our athletic trainer, I think, is the best in the state. Maggie does an unbelievable job. The only thing I get mad at her about is she knows more kids' names than I do, but she just works that closely with our athletes and their parents as well. She's a great communicator, and she's also now moved on to being a trainer as well. So, for instance, right now in the spring, we have two athletic trainers, both from Northern Illinois University. They're outstanding student trainers as well. So not only is she treating our athletes, but she's preparing the next round of athletic trainers as well. So thank you to her. Girls basketball.
Hi, I'm Sam Carey. I'm a senior and I've been on Kaneland varsity basketball for the past 3 years.
I'm Elizabeth Eberhardt. I've been a manager for the varsity basketball team for the past 2 years.
This season we went 24-10 overall and 9-1 in the conference. This team secured a conference title for the first time in 20 years. Then we went on to win a regional title for the second year in a row, which is the first time we did that back-to-back since 1990. Overall, we made it to the first round in sectionals.
And then we had a couple all-conference players. First, Kendra Brown was all-conference player of the year and third team all-state. Sam Carey was all-conference for the second year in a row, and Amani Meeks was all-conference for the first time. And then Kira Lilly made all-conference honorable mention. That's all.
Thank you, ladies. I want to add a little bit. The varsity went 24-10, sophomores 21-5, freshmen 18-5. That makes the girls basketball program this year 63-20. That's a 76% win percentage during the season. I also want to recognize senior Kendra Brown. She was named to the third team All-State, and she will play in the IBCA All-Star game in June. I also want to recognize our head coach, Brian Clayson. He was selected as the District 5 Coach of the Year. Yeah. Boys basketball.
I got it. Hi, I'm Ernie Colomb. I'm the boys basketball coach and department chair for Health P and Driver's Ed at the high school. Got a few guys here. They're gonna do most of the talking. I just want to thank the administration, the coaching staff, the players, our community for all the support. Just one quick story. You know, the day we played our super sectional, for example, as we got on the bus, we had students from Shields waiting for us to hand out water and goodie bags because they were so excited for us. So that was really cool to see the community support that we had this season. These three guys that we picked to come up, we didn't just pick them randomly. We have senior Luke Reinert, senior Freddie Hassan, and junior Evan Frieders. These guys in the last 3 years have gone 84-14. So these guys have won more games in basketball at Kaneland than any players who have ever played on the boys' side. Evan is a junior, so the next game that he plays, if we can get a win, he'll have it by himself. But for right now, it's pretty impressive that these guys have won that many games and they've done a ton of work. Summers in the classroom, great kids, but just really hard workers, and they deserve everything they get. So these guys are going to take it away.
Yeah, so our varsity program, we went 32-2, which set a new season record for wins. Our sophomores went 22-4, and our freshmen went 17-13. So altogether, Kaneland basketball had a record of 71-19. On the varsity side, we won the Interstate 8 Conference Championship for the 3rd straight year. Back-to-back champions at the Plano Christmas Classic. We went on to win a regional championship, then a sectional championship, and then advanced to the Elite 8 for the first time since 1982. We had a program record 31-game winning streak, which was also the longest streak in the state for the 24-25 basketball season.
Some individual awards. We had Marshawn Colcroft, Freddie Hassan, and Jeffrey Hassan. They were all named Interstate 8 All-Conference players. And then Evan Frieders was an Interstate 8 honorable mention for All-Conference. And then Marshawn Colcroft was Interstate 8 Conference Player of the Year. And then Freddie Hassan joined the 1,000-point club and finished 8th in leading scorer in program history.
For some IBCA Association awards, we have Marshawn being named to the All-State team, Freddie Hassan being named to the Special Mention All-State team, and some other awards include the varsity team being recognized by the IHSA for sportsmanship, and the varsity team being selected by the readers of the Daily Herald as the fan favorite. That's all.
Guys did a great job overseeing that season. One additional highlight, Coach Colomb has been selected as the District 5 Coach of the Year on the boys' side as well. So congratulations. Again, in the boys' basketball program, they also have quite a few volunteers. We have averaged over the last 6 years just around 20 volunteer coaches that we fully put through the paces of everything except IRS paperwork. So they do an outstanding job. They take a lot off our head coaches' plates, and their dedication is far beyond what we expect. So we always want to take a moment to thank our volunteer coaches as well. I don't believe Coach Kiefler was able to be here tonight, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the wrestling season. Congratulations to our up-and-coming knights as well. We look forward to having you. The boys wrestling program was 13-15-1. They had 8 placers at the regional tournament, 6 sectional qualifiers, and 1 state qualifier. We placed 3 at the Plano Reaper Classic, 1 as a champion, 3 placers at the Stillman Valley Holiday Tournament, including 2 champions, and 10 placers at our own Margaret Flott Invitational, where we had 3 champions. We must have done something right because we've had several teams who were not able to attend our meet this year already reach out and ask if they could come next year. So we're looking forward to doing that. Regional placers included Camden Skipper, John Havron, Alex Gochis, Jack Gruber, Colton Helsley, Caden Vanek, Apollo Gochis, and Jack Parker. Camden, John, Alex, Jack, Caden, and Apollo all qualified for the sectional, and Alex Gochis at 138 qualified for the state meet as well. All conference, Alex Gochis at 138, Jack Gruber at 144, and Apollo Gochis at 175. We also had 6 wrestlers earn academic all-conference honors. And as our cheerleaders were explaining to you, I did a little computation while I was sitting over here, and we had just under 25% of all winter athletes make academic all-conference, which means they have at least a 3.0, if not higher. So I think that's an outstanding achievement, and one that I get to happily repeat regularly when I get to stand in front of you. We also have one more highlight. Alex Gochis entered the 100 career club win this year. as a senior wrestler. So congratulations to our wrestlers, and we're looking forward to more. And then I have the pleasure of bringing up Mr. Josh West so he can talk about our girls wrestling team.
Thanks for having us. This really was a excellent season. I walked past the Hall of Fame sign, and I know that this team will someday be on one of those teams invited. So this year our focus was tournaments. Dual meets, we were 8-2. Our varsity highlights, we were the top Illinois team at the Dan Gable Donnybrook in Iowa. We brought 5 out of our 14 wrestlers, and we placed 13th as a team. Again, the top team from Illinois. We were invited to come back to that as well next year, so it's an invite-only tournament. First place at our own Kaneland Scramble, second place at the Lakes High School Invitational, and third place at the Niles West Girls Invite. Our postseason highlights, we placed first in the Interstate 8 Conference. This is the first time in school history. We placed first in the regional tournament, which again was the first time in school history, and we placed second at the sectional tournament. That is the highest we've finished, and that's roughly about 40 teams across the state. Additionally, at the state finals, we placed third as a team and brought home the first state trophy in program history. Our individual highlights, we had 4 state qualifiers. This was the most that we've brought in a single season. Angelina Gochis, Brooklyn Schaefer, Caitlin Manier, and Sadie Kinsella were our 4 qualifiers. Out of those 4, 2 placed. Brooklyn Schaefer got 4th, and Angelina was a state champion as a sophomore. This is her 2nd state championship in 2 years. During our conference tournament, we had, I think, roughly 11 wrestlers. We had 6 of them that were all conference. Carly Duffing, Angelina Gochis, Sadie Kinsella, Caitlin Manier, Brooklyn Schaefer, and Deani Torres. Additionally, every single wrestler placed in that tournament, placed at the conference tournament. 5 of our athletes were academic all conference. And I know the coaches here push it, but I'm really on them. So if we fall below a certain GPA, we are exercising. Additional awards and accolades. Angelina Gochis was selected at that Donnybrook tournament as the MVP of the tournament. So that was voted on by coaches. And their coaches that attend that are Illinois, Indiana, Missouri. Coaches selected her to be the most valuable wrestler. Brooklyn Schaefer, Caitlin Manier, Sadie Kinsella, and Angelina Gochis were all area first-team wrestlers, with Angelina Gochis being selected as the Daily Chronicle Wrestler of the Year. Some end-of-the-year stuff. Brooklyn Schaefer was a 4-time state qualifier and a 2-time medalist. Again, Angelina is a 2-time qualifier and a 2-time state champion. Deani Torres is a senior. She's leaving our program with the most wins in school history, I think about 123. Lots of different awards or records were broken. But last but not least, our school and our team is being recognized, and we've built this program up. So not only are we being asked to come to the Donnybrook tournament, we've been asked to attend a tournament in Missouri, one in Ohio, and another one in Delaware. So we're really building a quality program that we can be proud of. So thank you, I appreciate it.
Coach West, that sounds like some fundraising in the future. Again, it's my pleasure to stand and help recognize our student athletes and our coaches. And I just have one more recognition. I haven't seen the final voting yet, but I know that Coach West was also nominated for Coach of the Year for his division as girls wrestling coach. So congratulations to him as well. And thank you.
All right, that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, great time of year to celebrate. All you guys did awesome, and you make us proud. So appreciate all the time and effort put in at all levels, for sure.
All right, that is all we have.
Okay, Dr. Bogan?
Nothing for salutes.
Nothing? Anything from the board? You go for it.
All right. We had talked as a board, and President Gonzalez and I talked about just giving a big shout out to Dr. Rowling, Dr. Bogan, Mr. Payton, Mr. Chavez, and the entire administrative staff for the referendum work that you guys did. We are just overwhelmed by all of the hard work that you've done, and we are so pleased to be able to announce that we did in fact pass that referendum, and that could not have happened without all of your work. So thank you so much to all of you.
Yeah, we were talking about it, and I don't know if you guys are aware of the time and energy and effort that's put in, and the calls, the late nights, the getting out there and talking, being part of the community, and so this is huge for Kaneland, and so this is minimal, this shout out, because you guys are working your butts off, and you guys on the referendum team that were out there getting the votes, getting those voters out there. It's for these kids. So again, just one more round of applause for all the efforts you guys put in. Okay, hearing no further salutes. You guys good? All right. I'm not going to read the spiel, but it's an open meeting. We appreciate you being here, and we're going into new business. So you're welcome to stay, but at this time, we'd like to give you the opportunity to head out if you'd like. I'm sure you have stuff to do. So yeah, have a good evening.
Thank you, guys.
It's a fun season overall. We got practice. I went down to see. Oh yeah, I think it was so. Yeah, I bet it was.
Right in center.
Okay.
Well, that cleared up.
Yeah. Tonight's consent agenda contains the following information. The following action items: approval of the Treasurer's Report, March 2025, approval of minutes from the March 10th, 2025 regular meeting, approval of personnel, approval of destruction of audio recordings from closed session meetings from October 2023, approval of groundskeeping equipment, the mower, approval of bid, fuel, approval of bid, copy paper. This is how it's listed, so forgive me. Approval of bid, security services, approval of special education workload plan 2025-2026, approval of the amended school calendar for 2024-2025, and then the following informational items: the final tax extension report, the student suspension data report, and the Freedom of Information Act FOIA report. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent items as listed.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. The consent agenda is approved. We now move on to that most special time of the evening, the public comments. We use the public comment section as an opportunity to listen to our stakeholders. The board does not debate or engage in conversation during this time. I'd like to remind everyone to state your name and village of residence for the record. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes or less. Public comment is a maximum of 30 minutes with a 20-minute total length of time for any one subject. Those who speak are asked to maintain a tone of courtesy and civility. And first up, we have Ms. Sheila Albano.
I should put my name on there more than once, because now I have all these different things to say, and I had stuffed notes for it, and forget it all. I'm just going to wing it. I'm Sheila Albano from Elburn, and I initially am here as part of the Yes Committee for the referendum. Our captain, Audrey, could not be here tonight. We are near speechless with excitement and gratitude to literally so many people. But I want to start with the school board, because a year or 2 years ago, when we began digging into all of the things that were not great about the other referendum setup, you ultimately, there's been some changes obviously, but you listened and you heard us, that if we're going to pass anything in this district, it has to be, everyone has to be involved in it. They have to all have a stake and something to say, and their input, and I'm grateful to all the people who put their input into this, whether or not they voted for it. If they came and gave their opinions, all of it helped us to pass it, because we kept adjusting and going, oh, we hadn't thought of that or hadn't thought of this. We could never have done it without all of your support, without Dr. Rowling, without Jackie Bogan, without Mr. Chavez, and all of his communications, because whoever in his team is doing all they're doing, our group just kept grabbing stuff and just sending it out even further, and we didn't have to do it all on our own, which I'm very grateful for. That's not my thing. And listening to all of these kids tonight, now I'm even more excited, because when we build that field house, guess who's going to have enormous wrestling tournaments in that field house? Mr. Rollman will not be happy, but it's going to be amazing, and the basketball and everything that we can do in there. And I realize it is not just about sports. We say that all the time, and it's true. But I am, as part of a group that had fantastic wrestling back in the 80s with our basketball, I can't wait to see that group get into an open space that's theirs and to take off. We are super grateful. We're going to continue on our Facebook page to promote the things as we learn what's being built, where our next progresses are, similar to what we tried to do with the track. If you're wondering why I'm tomato red on this side and white on this side, that's because I got to be on that awesome track on Saturday for our very, very first meet there, the girls' homes invite. It was the most spectacularly perfect day, hardly any wind, not too cold, not too hot, and I didn't wear sunscreen because I didn't think I was gonna need it. Well, I was wrong. So thank you, everybody. And I know I'm over my time, but I wanna say specifically thank you to Adam Gonzalez, because I know that you will not be back with us in another couple of weeks. But a lot of this stemmed from you, and you're asking questions and being willing to push, and we will miss you. But I'm looking forward to having Scott on the board as well. But thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Okay. Would anyone else like to speak at this time? Since we only had one sign up. Okay. We'll move on to new business. So the first item of the new business is the vendor qualification and reverse auction approval. Dr. Bogan.
Yes, I'm going to invite our Director of Buildings and Grounds, Mark Payton, as well as Becky Thompson from Minia Energy to go through just a short presentation about our upcoming reverse auction.
No, it's all me. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. I'm back. That was so cool, by the way. I love coming to board meeting. Thank you for having me this evening and letting me witness that. So tonight we're going to talk energy. Last time I was here, I was introducing myself and sharing a little bit about the process of how Kaneland is changing up how we purchase natural gas and electricity. So between the last meeting and today, I've gone out to the market and solicited bids from suppliers, sent them the different RFP parameters, and I'm here to share those with you, as well as explain what will happen tomorrow should you vote this through this evening. So just as a little reminder, we're looking at big picture, and then we're going to drill in tonight specifically on just gas and electricity. But this is all part of the larger kind of initiative through the district to illustrate where there are maybe inefficiencies, where we can become more efficient, and throughout all aspects of the school district, right? But specifically for what I relate to is how energy, how you use it, when you use it, how you buy it, right? So we're going to talk about electricity first. I don't know if you can see those numbers. I'll talk through them in case the font is too small. So it helps to know where you're at to figure out where we're going. So right now you have a contract with Mid-American Energy. That's the name of the supplier. You still have ComEd. Mid-Am is just who bills you. So you still have ComEd on the back end, but the third-party suppliers who is taking a position in the marketplace for you is able to offer you a fixed rate. Then you pay them every month over the term of the contract. That contract is expiring next month, and so we have a July start date that we would be looking for the next contract to begin. They always bookend. We never want to overlap, so anything we're discussing today would come as this current contract comes to an end. So that current rate is about 5.6 cents. And we'll look at here, the arrow represents where the market was the last time that you entered into a contract. So there's a million little rates that comprise of the piece that you can affect through a fixed supply contract. These squiggly lines just represent the energy component itself, what's actually traded on the open market. It makes up about half of that rate that we will be discussing. So I just wanted to show you this to show when we talk about volatility, volatility means ups and downs really quickly over the course of time. We've obviously experienced a lot of volatility. We are currently experiencing continued volatility on all aspects of the market. Do not look at your retirement accounts if you want to have a great day. But energy is no different, right? It's traded on the open market and on the New York Mercantile Exchange. And so I just wanted to kind of illustrate that the market really isn't that different from an energy perspective from where you were the last time that you contracted. But it is, to me, representative of a really good time for us to be having this discussion. Yes, your contracts are ending, but this will help us formulate discussions around what kind of term length that you would enter into for a renewal.
And the contract will include the wheeling costs of moving the energy to the delivery point here? Like, say we go with We Energies or Northern States, MSP. The wheel, it's delivered, this is the power delivered to our
Right,
buildings,
correct. So there's two different delivery costs that you pay for within your energy bill. One is responsible for getting it from the generator to ComEd, and then you will pay ComEd for it getting it from ComEd to your specific meters at each of your locations. So you're actually kind of, it's not double dipping, it's just two sides of the same coin. These 5.6 cent rate that you just witnessed does not include the delivery. Those will be, right now what you have is what's called a pass-through product. You're still responsible for those costs, but rather than fixing them today, paying a premium to the supplier, you will just pay the true cost each month without markup. We'll get into in the next slide, I believe, of why that's important and why I think that that's a relevant discussion for the time and place of where we are in the market today. But this does illustrate that this is a good time to be going to the market. There's a lot of different moving pieces when it comes to energy, just like anything that you procure. We're buying today what we use tomorrow. It's called the futures market. And right now what's affecting those prices are increasing electrical demand. We have data centers. AI is a massive data hog. When you run a chat GPT about how to make chocolate chip cookies, it takes 10 times the amount of energy to run that query as a regular Google search. So that's why you see like Microsoft and all these places making investments in these large data centers. They're 24/7, 365 massive data hogs. At the same time, we have coal plants that are retiring. We have renewable energy coming online, but it's not nearly at the pace that is meeting that increased demand. So we are experiencing quite a bit of a supply and demand issue right now. We have more demand than we have supply, and we see that represented in some of the rates that we are seeing and some of the volatility that we're experiencing. And that is represented on this page. So I think I may have even made mention of this last time that I was here, that anyone who has ComEd, even at your home, if you own a business, is going to be experiencing quite a sticker shock come your July invoice. Effective June 1, capacity, which is a portion of your supply rate that's responsible for grid reliability, is increasing by 800%. Now, your energy costs itself are not increasing 800%, but this one small piece of your pie is increasing by 9 times. The reason for that is that generators, we pay into a pool to keep them online so they can dispatch energy at times that we need it. So when we get home in the middle of August and we're all cranking our air conditioners at the same time, there's going to be a spike of demand on the grid. And to make sure that we don't have a blackout and that everyone who wants power gets it in a timely manner, we pay these generators from this pool to have that energy easily dispatchable when we need it. That all falls into this bucket called capacity. And because of everything that I just illustrated on that previous slide, that supply and demand issue that we are having, the cost for capacity went up by 9 times last year. Unfortunately, there's not anything that we can do about it for this time period. The price is set, and it's set for a year at a time, so it's June 1 through May of 26. It is what it is. But what this illustrates to us is when we talk about term lengths following an auction, locking in capacity now and fixing it, to your point about some of those delivery costs, doesn't necessarily offer a perceived benefit to the district, because if you lock in, say you want a 3-year contract, a supplier is going to look at what capacity costs are today, and they're going to say, we're going to estimate that it's going to be around this for the 3-year contract. What they put in every single contract now, especially with this volatility, is a little asterisk that says that they've reserved the right to increase or change the price of that capacity over the term of the contract if it negatively impacts their pricing. So if they're no longer able to offer the price at what it was. So you could potentially be locking in a higher capacity rate today that's not even fixed for the term of the contract because they reserve the right to change it over the term of the contract, rather than offering what we call a pass-through product, which is what you have now, where you're not paying to fix it, you're not paying any premium, you pay what the real cost is. It leaves the door open that if that capacity cost would come down over a longer term contract, you would see those effects immediately instead of waiting for the contract to expire. There was a point several years ago where you could fix all of your costs all in. It stayed the same over the term of the contract. It was awesome budget certainty for Dr. Bogan. That product just really doesn't exist anymore. This would be the equivalent of someone offering, like, say you have a diesel drum on your property, and you're like, okay, I want 100 gallons of diesel, and I want you to charge me $3 a gallon for it for the duration of that 100 gallons. And then in the middle of them going to refill it, we have a trade war or something happen and the cost of diesel goes up to $5. Well, they can no longer offer it to you for $3, right? They're going to pass through a cost increase. It's the same kind of thing when it comes to energy. And so that's kind of the market we're in right now. There will be opportunities, I think, in the future. You guys have already done some really cool things from solar. Mark is working on a lot of efficiency projects where you will drive down your local demand, and that will have an impact on your greater costs outside of what's happening nationwide. And so I think when we look at this, a lot of the discussion that we will have will be balance of budget certainty and risk aversion. How can you have some insulation from some of this volatility while leaving the door open for opportunity for you to lower your cost internally as you become more efficient? I spouted a whole lot of you at that. Any questions on electricity specifically? Okay, so let's talk numbers. So tomorrow we have a really exciting event of the reverse auction. So we touched on this last time that I was here. This is eBay in reverse. So we take all of these electricity suppliers and all of those millions of little charges that we just talked about. They will actually participate by submitting their rate into a live online platform, and they can do it multiple times over the course of the auction. So rather than like a sealed construction bid where everyone puts everything on paper and then sends it in and then they hope for the best, they're actually able to see where their competitors are falling so that they have the opportunity to revise their bid and lower the cost in order to win your business. So this works for the district. It's a win-win because every extra bid that you get is savings for you. It works for the suppliers because they are often calling and asking where they need to be to win business, but when you're running any bid with integrity, you're not saying, hey, Peter, lower it this much and then you can win. This is a way for them to have transparent insight into what their competitors are doing and know exactly where they need to be in order to secure your business. So we hope to run the first live auction for Kaneland tomorrow for the electricity. So tonight, what we wanted to do is offer you something to quantify what this process would entail. So the top line, that's very little numbers, but this represents a comparison, an apples-to-apples comparison of what you have currently. So right now your rate is about 5.6 cents. Based off of the low bid that we received from the qualifying round, you have to participate in the qualifying round to get an invite to the live event. Rates were about 10 to 17% below your current rate. We would hope that the auction would improve those results tomorrow. The caveat being that these rates came from a week ago when we could put this into the board packet. The market changes every single day. So what we have highlighted in the orange just includes a 10% bandwidth if the market, because the market moves every day, allows them to run an auction and still accept an agreement and execute with your approval if those thresholds within the orange band are met at the auction.
How many qualifying bidders do we have?
I think we had 13. Yep.
Back to qualifications in terms of reliability and
met the qualifications. Yep, yep, absolutely. So they have to have credit worthiness, they have to abide by the Prompt Payment Act, they have to have secure billing, all of the things. Yep, yep.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say, stupid question, but at this point, we can just pick the lowest bidder and feel comfortable that we're not getting subpar services because we picked the lowest bidder. The
Yeah,
qualifiers are
you could take
as
the,
such.
yeah, you could take the, you could. The idea would be that we want them to have transparency so that they can ultimately get you a lower rate than what we originally received.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Any other questions on electricity? Okay. Natural gas is a little more straightforward. There's really only two pieces of natural gas. You have the transportation of gas, you have the actual gas itself. There's fewer pieces that you have to try to accommodate there. Same thing, this contract expires in June. Currently have a layering strategy, which is really great. So rather than putting all your eggs in one basket trying to time the marketplace, putting strategies into place that allow you to layer as opportunities arise. So we were actually able to do this on this last contract, which was my first involvement with Kaneland as your energy advisor. And I think when we first entered into the market, you will see that it was shortly after Russia invaded Ukraine and the United States became a global player in natural gas, which I still remember that day. It was a Tuesday morning and natural gas prices went up 40% at market open. Your contract was expiring and NICOR's rates at that time were about $1.20 a therm that you were paying at your home. So we took the approach for layering at that time and it served you quite well. Your weighted average cost was about 50 cents. When your first contract, when we entered into, was I think it was 60 or 70 cents at that time. So by taking that layered approach and waiting for the market to time in additional layers, you were able to achieve a lower weighted average cost. So I would recommend doing that now. We are, again, a much more favorable marketplace today than we were, obviously, with the last contract. Oh, that's really tiny for you guys to see. But the biggest thing to note is that it's a 12 to 18% decrease with the current product that you have in today's market versus where it was in the past. Again, I would recommend that layered approach. There's been a lot of volatility. I would expect that will likely continue, but there have been some pockets of opportunity that have opened up here in the last week. Natural gas prices are following oil prices, which have been down since the announcement of the tariffs, and so it's actually a really great timing for your contract expiration to be looking into these rates. So right now we're looking at about 2 cents just to lock the basis, which then allows you, the basis is the transportation, and then it allows you to layer in some of those hedges of the natural gas over the period of time.
And so just to, can you clarify what that layering is? Really just how, instead of buying everything anticipated up front at a locked-in rate, that we would stage it out over time?
Yeah, couldn't say any better. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I just want to make sure that everyone understands that layering aspect, because I think it truly served the district well in this last contract and a similar approach.
Yeah, absolutely. So it would, a lot of districts are kind of adopting this strategy right now, especially with the market being the way that it is. And like I said, it allows you to achieve that lower weighted average cost. So what we do is percentages. So it's like, okay, 25% of your expected annual volumes, we could lock them today at this amount. And once you have that enabling agreement, it's called, like once you've signed a contract with a supplier, transacting to act and secure those layers is very quick. Like you could do it over an email. I could call Dr. Bogan and say, the market just dropped 7%. Today's a great time to take a layer. And then she could do it very quickly without waiting for the next board meeting, the board packet, and all of that, at which point that opportunity and that window could be closed. So it allows you to be much more nimble and opportunistic as those kind of present themselves. And, market loves drama, and there's been no shortage of that, and so there have been a lot of opportunities for those extra layers recently. All right, I hit you guys with a lot of jargony stuff. You all did really, really great. Any other questions that you have about the process or what we're facing tomorrow or any of that good stuff? All right, well, thank you so much for your time. It was great to see you all again. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments from the board? All right, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion that the Board of Education authorize district administration to execute natural gas and electricity supply contracts for the terms not to exceed 60 months following a live reverse auction for electricity and traditional procurement method for natural gas.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. McCauley?
Aye.
Dr. Lawler?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Aye.
Mr. Mankowski?
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner?
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons?
Aye.
Mr.
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 7-0. The vendor qualification and reverse auction for natural gas and electricity supply contracts is approved. The second item of new business is the referendum
Thank you.
update. Dr. Rowing.
All right, so we've been doing these since it started, I think, actually before I started. one.
Yeah.
And they're gonna keep coming, by the way. But as of the 10th, we were up about 700 votes, just shy of 700 votes. So we've unofficially passed the referendum. Official certification will come next week. Just to give everybody a little bit of background, since September 1st, the school district has done the following, and keep up because we're gonna move fast. 76 stakeholder events, that includes 11 town halls, 4 virtual, by the way, Ms. Albano attended at least 8 of those 11 town halls. She was one away from a free sandwich. 4 virtual town halls, 5 tours of Kaneland High School, 15 staff meetings, 4 student panels, 9 community group meetings, 3 community events, and 23 school-based events. And nearly every one of our administrators participated in at least one of those. We had 115 unique social media posts, which garnered over 49,900 views. We had over 8,000 interactions, which is up 60% from the previous 3 months. So shout out to Mr. Chavez and his team. We had 23,000 social media visits. I can't even, that's a lot of people. And that's a 250% increase over the previous 3 months. Additionally, we had 14 videos created. Big shout out to Dr. Bogan and Mr. Payton for being good sports and being in a number of those videos. 5 press releases and multiple interviews, which I had fun with. 9 advertising efforts, both print and social media. 1 mailer that reached 9,837 addresses, so check your mail if you haven't, because they have something from March. 50 yard signs, 7,295 visits to the Kaneland referendum page, official endorsements by KEA Speak, community members, and community organizations, and active support by an amazing Kaneland Yes group that was everywhere at all times, both virtual and in person. So we are, speak for the administration, we are humbled by the outpouring, humbled by the support, and now we are moving forward. So just a little bit of background on what's going to be happening in the near future. So this week, Dr. Bogan and I will meet with Wold, the architects, again to talk through the process. They've done this a number of times. We want to lean on our experts to give us some ideas. We'll also be meeting with PMA to have initial meetings about the funding sources. Additionally, the next item on our agenda is a RFP, or request for proposal, for construction management. We want to get those construction manager secured early in the process so they can be a part of the planning, make sure we want to have a quick timeline. We want to make, there's a lot of moving pieces here. 6 sites, multiple types of projects. So we want to make sure that everything's coordinated and everybody's working together from the beginning. As we identified throughout the effort, this is going to be a community event. So we will be coming back in May with some additional information on how we will both seek large-scale feedback through surveys, town halls, and other things like that, but also identifying how we're going to go about assembling some working committees to help provide guidance and feedback on how we do that, including a large-scale steering committee and then subcommittees for some of the larger topics such as athletic fields, field house, playgrounds. I would say HVAC mechanicals, if anyone really wants to get on that committee and talk air handlers. But that is essentially what the plan is for the near future, and we are here to share that and seek any feedback from the Board of Education on those initial steps. Like I said, Dr. Bogan will be providing more details regarding the construction manager in item number 3.
Okay. Comments, questions?
Just another big thank you. Yeah, and to the committee too. Without that, I think this is one of those things that really illustrates that when we get the community involved, we really can make things happen, right? So keep that momentum going now. That's the next part.
I know communities already going to be questioning and wondering when we're going to be hitting ground, digging, when that first shovel's going to hit. Can you?
I really want to say something, but I'm not going to, because when I do, I'm going to be wrong.
We guess and you just be like,
yeah. Look, I think once we start having some initial meetings with the architects for planning and the construction manager in terms of what's possible and when, then we'll be able to get that information out. But what I identified is I want to be aggressive. The earlier we get started, the earlier we can avoid escalation, market volatility on a variety of things. So I would like to say that by this time next year, if we don't have shovels in ground, then I'll be out there with my own shovel to start to dig the foundation. But we should be rolling by hopefully next spring on some of our initial projects. If I would love to be earlier, but that's kind of where we are. That way we can get out early. Any other questions? And we will continue to provide updates to the community through our website, through our social media, and the Kaneland Yes group has said they're going to continue to do the same. So
that's great. I do actually have a question.
Yeah.
Besides shovels in the ground for the internal classroom work at the high school, is that not going to be done this summer?
no, it can't. The reality is we have to do a lot of planning.
Okay.
There's a lot of things that we want people's input on too, right?
Okay.
But even from just a financial standpoint, if we go out to bid now, everybody's already got their summer projects, all of the major, so all they're gonna do is throw you an expensive number because they really don't even want the work. So the goal would actually be to get out early next year to secure bids for anything big happening in the summer of '26 inside, so that we are kind of the first on the list.
That makes a lot more sense.
Yep. I mean, I'd love to do it this summer, but yeah, it's.
Dr. Bogan, for the actual financial aspect, what's the next steps for that? Does this have to be official first before you can even move forward at all?
So, yes and no. So to actually move any funds, do anything like that, it has to be official.
Okay.
But we are in that pre-planning stage. We do have a meeting tomorrow set with PMA to talk about what those next steps and how we move forward with all of that.
Do they just drop off like duffel bags full of cash?
That's, in my head, there's a giant truck that just rolls up and drops it, but.
The day after,
I'll be there for that one.
The day after the election, my 6-year-old woke up and his first question was, did the yeses win? And then he said, I was driving him to school, and he goes, so they just come, does government just like bring a big truck full of money? And I'm like, I really wish. I'll see if it's there. I'll send you a picture.
That's horrible.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, Dr. Rowling has a strong background in school construction background. So we're in good hands moving forward,
Cool.
With this project. He knows what he's doing, so we're in a good spot.
Thank you for the confidence.
Okay, there's no action on the referendum update. The third item of new business is the approval of construction management request for proposal process. Dr. Bogan.
Yes, so tonight we are recommending to move forward with the request for proposal or RFP process for construction management services related to the referendum. So we've used this process in the past, whether it's been for architect, legal services, auditing services. And we really believe that using this process will allow the district to engage with the most qualified vendors and companies out there, because it looks at things like qualifications, prior experience, capacity, work already completed, also their fee structure. and not merely just going off of a low bidder. And so for something on the scale of that, we believe that that is probably one of the most important reasons why we're recommending this process. We're definitely looking for a construction management firm that's not only going to help with facility expansions through this, modernization, site improvements, but also someone that we potentially could build a long-term relationship with. We know that this referendum is going to be fixing many of the needs at the district, but we know that on an ongoing basis, we have regularly scheduled capital projects that will always continue as part of our regular budget. As far as this, we'd be looking to engage a construction management firm fairly quickly because we would like them available to us and sort of part of the team really beginning by June 2nd. And that will allow us that they can be involved in all of that pre-construction phase, design, development, cost estimates, budgeting, also helping us develop that preventative maintenance schedule for these projects moving forward, and new equipment, on-site supervision, oversight, and then everything just from that post-evaluation and what are the steps after everything's completed. And so because of that, we are looking for a fairly aggressive timeline. If approved, if the board were to approve this recommendation tonight, the RFP would actually be posted on April 17th, and then the public notice, and then made available to everyone Friday, April 18th. Proposals would be due by May 2nd. We'd be screening those proposals May 5th through 9th, and then we would make finalist determinations from that and notify finalists May 12th, and then the following week, May 19th through 21st, we'd be looking to bring back any of those finalists for on-site interviews, with approval then by the full Board of Education at the May 28th meeting, so that we could start a contract and engage with that company slash firm starting June 2nd, so that they really can be with us through the entire process. What questions can I answer if there aren't?
Nothing? Going once? Going twice? Thank you, Dr. Bowman.
Thank you.
If there's no questions, that means you thoroughly explained it.
Yeah, I feel like you do.
Okay, at this time, I'll entertain a motion that the Board of Education authorizes administration to proceed with the request for proposal, RFP, for construction management services.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye.
Mr. Mankiewski.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Motion passes 7-0. The construction management RFP is approved. The fourth item of new business is a discussion and approval of Board of Education Student Representative Program for 2025-2026. Dr. Rowling, is that you or is that?
That is me. I am
All
Dr.
right.
Rowling. So the last 2 years, the Kaneland Board has chosen to have a student representative. This year we have the highly esteemed Ms. Slattery, who has been wonderful, and so she has really created a model for others to look up to. So it's the time of year where the board will determine if they want to continue with that program. Generally, the person has been chosen in the spring after following a process by which we do some interviews that include myself, Ms. Cattell, and possibly some other members. Representative is a Kaneland High School senior involved in student council or some type of other student group that's similar, with a focus to solicit feedback and provide perspective, share some of the stories that from the student perspective. We will provide them training to allow them to be positive members of the school board meetings, and then we will, if the Board of Education decides to continue with this, we will embark on that process actually starting later this week. Any questions?
Just one, and
Yes.
it might not be important. Maybe it's a question for you. Do you think being on the board for the whole year is beneficial, or do you think it might be better to split it up into maybe half and half, so like let somebody else have a try for half the year? Or do you think like you need the whole year to get your feet wet?
I think for myself,
almost liken it to the, I don't know if you guys remember a couple years ago, but we changed it from the 1-year board president to the 2-year.
Yeah.
And you almost need that year to settle in before you actually know what you're doing, or you think you know what you're doing. But
I mean, that's true for board members. Like, I
it's-
feel like I just learned. I've been doing it a long time.
I want to take a quick second to recognize Miss Slattery. I don't know if you guys know this young lady, but she amazes me. Literally, one time I was at Paisano's picking up dinner late. She's there working. Next thing I know, she's freaking watching the doors at my daughter's basketball game, keeping score. She's just an amazing young lady. Huge part of the Crier, which we just heard the awards.
Yeah.
So, shout out to you for all you do. You're going to do well in life, and it's been awesome having you part of the team.
Absolutely.
And by the way, she's at almost every athletic event and is currently throwing shot and discus for the track team too. So somehow she finds time to join us here.
So, I mean, I think it's pretty unanimous that we want to continue this program. These are, and we might talk about it another time, but is there more things that you would have liked to have done this year or been more involved with? And I know we gave you some different assignments and some tasks. You always gave us, feedback about what was going on in the school and, kind of the weekly updates or bi-weekly updates or whatever the case may be. But from your perspective, do you think there was more that we could have put on your plate or asked of you, for your learning, experience or opportunity to be part of the program?
I definitely feel like I've learned a lot, but just like a bunch of different aspects. I mean, we were just talking about electricity and gas, but just like maybe like honestly, it's weird to say, but like more in a way, just like sharing my opinion on certain things, I guess. Versus next year, like just getting the student opinion on certain things. I felt like it could be like helpful.
Questions, comments? No? Well, if I don't get a chance, again, thank you so much for being a part of this team. Okay, hearing no further questions, I'll entertain a motion that the Board of Education approves the student representative program for the 2025-2026 school year.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Mankivsky.
Aye.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez.
Aye. Motion carries 7-0. The Board of Education Student Representative Program for 2025-2026 is approved. The fifth item of new business is the Board of Education meeting dates and format discussion for 2025-2026.
All right, so we are at the point where we do need to start planning for the next board year, which will kick off in July. So what I've brought is a list of board meetings. Nearly all of them fall on Monday with the exception of two due to Columbus Day and Memorial Day. Those two will be on Wednesdays. So seeking feedback on those dates. And then additionally, I had shared previously with the board via an update, a possible change in structure, if this is something the board is interested in. We moved the board meetings to 6 this year. The possible change would be to move the regular meeting back to 7 and run 4 separate board committees. An education committee, a finance facility committee, a human relations and staffing committee, and a community engagement committee. Each committee would comprise 1 or 2 board members. It would also be co-chaired by one of the cabinet members from the administrative team, the one that obviously oversees the area we're talking about. Those meetings, those co-chairs would work together to develop the agenda. These meetings would be opportunities for the departments to provide additional detail, provide some kind of a foretaste of some of the things that might be coming to the board. It helps the board hear from, and then the board would hear from the members in terms of what was discussed at the meeting. All the meetings would be considered open meetings. So the committee meetings would happen from 6 to 7. We'd have 2 at a time, so 1 in each room, and then we'd come together for the board meeting at large at 7 o'clock.
So it would be every other week?
Yeah, so it would be.
Or every other meeting?
For example, and I'm just, I'll have to work out the schedule, but education and finance facility may meet the first right prior to the first meeting, and then human relations and community engagement would meet the second meeting.
And
then
in the science classroom?
And we'd probably choose the science classrooms or a classroom that would be appropriate for that. Maybe one in the science classroom, one in here.
This should create efficiency, right, as I understand it?
Yeah, I worked in a similar structure in my previous district. We had a couple of committees, and the idea is there that really detailed stuff is shared there, rather than having like 40-minute presentations at every board meeting.
Sure.
And then you can work with, so for example, when we do one of our data meetings, the education committee would see that first, and then we could collaborate in terms of what pieces to bring to the next full board meeting. And additionally, getting that background in it, when there are questions at the board, it's not necessarily just administrators answering, but those board members have already seen some of that information too. So the board is hearing from other members around it. So I believe it could create some efficiency, should create some efficiencies.
So, for me personally, I mean, you know, I would have liked to get to more of these committee meetings through the last couple of years. Being Thursdays or on Wednesdays and, you know, the rest of life kind of going on, made it difficult to get to them as frequently as I wanted to. We're already committed to the board meeting on a Monday anyway. We already know that we can get here by 6 o'clock. So, I mean, for me, I would be able to be more involved as a board member in more of the committee meetings. And then we can just come right into the meeting to discuss what was discussed or give a board report on that specific committee meeting. My only potential concern here, or at least I want to throw it out there, you know, for your consideration, and again, you've already kind of dealt with this, if we run 2 different committee meetings before the meeting, what if there's community members that want to, you know, attend both of them, I guess.
Yeah, that's the hard part, you gotta kind of pick and choose,
Okay.
right? But, yeah, we would still continue to have some of our community outreach committees.
Yes.
But this would help, this might bring some of, maybe we'd have a couple, like, even that out a little bit, right? Because we have a couple of different ones, so we might relook at that structure too. But this would allow community members to jump into either one, yeah.
Okay.
And all those would be public meetings, so we would post the agendas prior so they would know what's being discussed.
Okay, okay, fair.
Just a point of clarification, I think I know the answer. Say Bob and Aaron are a committee, and I wanna go to their meeting. That doesn't violate OMA, so we're doing it public, it's all good.
Public,
Okay,
yep. You,
okay.
generally, as I've seen it, you wouldn't necessarily participate.
Right, like, at
But
least
you
comments.
could be there, yes.
Yeah, okay.
How much is staff involved in your previous experience? I know.
They have not been in my previous experience. If that's something you'd like to discuss with KEA leadership, I could do that.
The only reason is we have a really great model with the health insurance, and I've been on that for a couple of years now, and the interaction with the teachers in that is been hugely significant. So love to see that more, and especially in areas like this, and especially how much we've had conversations and stuff like that with, you know, with their, when it came to their contract, when it's, when it came to the referendum and stuff like that. I think we've got a good vibe with and a good flow with them. So I would love to see them to be a part of this too, but I didn't know if that was.
I could certainly discuss that with
Yeah.
KEA. It's not unheard of.
Okay.
It was, in my previous district, we didn't do that, but
Yeah.
it's certainly something we could discuss in terms of having, a KEA representative there or a labor, employee representative there.
Okay. The reason is too, they've made comments too of like, they appreciate the voices, that they've been able to share things too. And this would probably hopefully maybe give them an avenue that they could share some of their perspective. Because we're always asking you too, did you survey them? What is their voice? And so their voices, you're hearing them, but if maybe we could hear them too, we can speak stronger for them or be able to understand what their needs are, so.
I can discuss that with
Okay.
them this week.
I would piggyback on that. I don't wanna speak for KEA, but I know during like those dinner meetings we've been having.
Yeah.
That was one of the things they asked, that they could become more involved in these kinds of,
Mhm.
so I think it's a good place for that. So if we can get them, that'd be good.
I can follow up with that.
Yeah, that's great.
Any further questions, discussion?
Oh, the other thing would be, I don't know how many students applied last year for Mrs. Slattery's position, but maybe if we have more than just one person, like if there's like 3 or 4, could we maybe, they don't have the head position, but maybe they could be a part of these committees too or something?
If they, we could definitely look at that too. I
Okay.
don't know how many, Dr. Horn, do you know how many applied last year?
Off the top of my head, it was a couple. I mean, 3 to 6, roughly speaking.
That's what I was thinking. Like the first year we did it was like only a couple, then last year was a lot more. So if like we had somebody like you, but like you even said, if you had maybe, if there was their own little committee, but then they divided up who went to certain things, they could be that voice for us too. So I don't know if that's an opportunity for those that don't get chosen.
Sure, we can look at that.
Okay.
Questions, comments? Just a heads up, I'm gonna abstain from this vote because
There's
it
no
brings you
vote.
guys in the picture. Oh, is it not?
No, I'll bring,
Oh, it's just a
it's just for
discussion.
feedback,
Oh,
so I
I'm
can bring
sorry.
something informed
Okay.
the next meeting.
I thought we were approving it, sorry. Okay then, a motion. So there's no action required for the board calendar and committee structure at this time. It is now time for the superintendent/board report. Dr. Rowling.
Well, everyone stole most of my good news. So, that's great. So I'll just stick to, so I did have more written down, just so everyone knows. But I will stick to congrats to Matt Richtman, a 2018 Kaneland grad, for being the first American male to win the LA Marathon in over 30 years with a time of 2:07. Fun fact, that's faster than my half marathon. So, not that I was winning any races. I know I look like a runner, but this is especially impressive because this was only his second competitive marathon. So it's great to see our Knights continue their excellence after they leave. So, Matt was also the 2017 boys state cross country champion. I see the sign every day when I roll into town. So. Everyone else has my other stuff, so.
Dr. Bogan?
I do have a couple of updates. One is a first responder update. I did want to let the board know that the Caneville Fire Department continues to undergo some leadership transitions. An interim chief, Peterson, has been appointed, and Captain Brittany Chase is now serving as deputy chief. It is anticipated that she remains a strong candidate for the permanent chief position within the next 6 months. I know we talked about this previously, but Caneville Fire Department also had a referendum on the ballot on April 1st, and unofficially it did not pass. It was shared with me from Caneville Fire Department since the referendum did not pass. The original projected timeline that they had given us for acquiring and staffing and getting an ambulance to service has been extended beyond the next 18 months. As a result of this, they are continuing to focus on staffing with qualified medical personnel to ensure high quality care. And most importantly, they do have a mutual aid agreement in place now with Maple Park Fire Department. And so Maple Park will be responding to the KHS, KMAC campuses if there is a 911 call with their ambulance. So that has been the only major change in service. Caneville will continue to respond as usual, but instead of the Big Rock ambulance being the primary responder, it will now be Maple Park. They are continuing to keep us updated at the district on any changes that are happening or things that they are focused on. So we will continue to have conversations and make sure that we stay on top of any changes happening with the fire department.
Does this warrant us bringing back the conversation we had last year with Albert?
It could be.
Definitely. Maybe a topic for future agenda. Okay.
Is that it?
I have two really quick other ones. Tonight, as part of the consent agenda, there were 3 bid approvals. I did just want to point out really quickly for you and for everyone at home, we did have, we have already experiences some issues with regards to tariffs and things like that. We had 2 companies in the copy paper bid. One rescinded their bid prior to opening, and then our apparent low bidder actually rescinded their bidder prior to this recommendation coming to the board. With all of that being said, the lowest bidder current lowest bidder that was approved tonight is still $2,400 less than the prior contract. So that was really good news. On the fuel side, we had 4 bidders for the last several years. The district has had 2 bidders, so seeing an increase in the number of bidders was positive. And we saw a significant decrease in the price per gallon for both gasoline and diesel fuel. The district is saving 60 cents per gallon on gasoline compared to the current contract, and 70 cents per gallon on diesel to the current contract. So Sean Lehman, one of our AP specialists in the office, she did some quick calculating for me this week because I was very excited about those numbers when those bids came in. And year to date, we've used just under 10,000 gallons of gasoline and just 61,641 gallons of diesel. And so just based on that, that cost difference would realize a savings of just over $49,000 to the district just for that single contract. So just a bit of good news on that. So wanted to share. That's all I have.
Hey, Ms. Latter, you're up.
Mr. Rollman did steal a little bit of my thunder there, but it's okay. Good evening. I hope everyone has enjoyed their break. Since so much has gone on since the last time I spoke, I just wanted to share some highlights for the spring season so far. Some of those highlights include all the success that the boys and girls track and field team has had in their indoor season and down at indoor sectionals and state. And the teams have just started their outdoor season, and I can't wait to see what else we have in store. The Kaneland Crier, as of today, just won their second sectional in a row in program history. 10 journalism students will be heading down to Bloomington at Heartland Community College for the live state competition next week, and we wish them all the best of luck. The baseball and softball team have also had lots of success within the beginning of their season. Over spring break, both teams, baseball went down to Panama City, Florida, and the softball team went down to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and represented Kaneland extremely well. Both teams are continuing to increase their wins at home and will for the rest of the season. And lastly, the high school's annual spring musical, Something Rotten, will be performing this Thursday through Saturday in the KHS auditorium, so make sure to get your tickets before they sell out, and that's all I have tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board members. Okay. Hearing none, we'll move forward to topics for future agendas.
So, go ahead. You have
Okay.
it.
I'd just like to give a shout out to Coach Bursa, who had his 400th win about 3 weeks ago. I know that wasn't mentioned. I don't know many are aware of that. I was able to go down with the varsity team down in Florida. It was an incredible experience. I feel this team is absolutely incredible. The combination with the juniors, the varsity player, or the seniors, and then they have a freshman player in the team who's phenomenal. I don't know if he's watching. I don't want to embarrass him or anything, but it was an awesome experience, great team. Second, I know we had mentioned or talked about, and I spoke to you on Saturday about this, talked about nominating an individual possibly on a building or a specific location in our district. What is the policy on that? I know you and I had talked about it on Saturday. Wanted to see what.
Yes.
Jackie,
So we are, Dr. Rolwing and I are currently reviewing our current policy, and so as we get closer to some of those namings and stuff like that, prior to that happening, we will be coming to the board with a recommendation for an updated policy. The current policy is very prescriptive in terms of the person must be deceased. It can only be named after, these qualifications, things like that, a historical figure, things like that. So we'll be reviewing that and then coming with a recommendation to the board to get that updated.
So I have a couple. One, I had talked to President Gonzalez and Dr. Rowling about this. At my old district, when I taught high school a million years ago, we used to do this thing where we would call out staff, or employees who had done something excellent that month, and then did like a board salute. So like we like had them come in, shook their hand, and it's just one of those goodwill things that I thought we might want to try to or institute with our district, because our staff and faculty and all the employees are just doing such amazing things, and I would just love to like maybe acknowledge some of that. So if you guys are on board, I thought that would be a good thing to try to implement.
Student consensus.
I mean, if you're against
What kind of person are you against it?
And then the other one I had, actually I have a few. The other one I had was at some point I'd like to look at not our committee structure, but the committee structures that operate internally for the district, the KEA committees, the SPEAK committees, the administrative committees, and just see how they're organized and see if we can make sure that we get enough employee voices on all those committees so that they're not solely administrative dominant committees, right? So that there's a balance in people's voices and what they have to say. So if you guys are on board with that.
Say that again. So which committees?
So those would be the committees that the administration run internally with like curriculum or coaches, those kind of things. Right? So nothing that we would necessarily touch, but just how it's organized internally.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'd just like to see it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. See how's it work, and then KEA has said a couple times in those lunches they would like to have more say in those committee structures. I think let's see what's going on and see if we can get them.
Just for update, one of the things that we have been doing this year as we develop committees, we have been working with KEA leadership to identify who those individuals representing KEA will be.
That's good.
So it's not just, I'm gonna pick these 4 people, we come together, we talk about, okay, for example, we're doing some MTSS work, Dr. Garland got together with KEA leadership and discussed, okay, who do you guys want? So we've been doing that as we've throughout this year.
Good. That's good to hear. All right, my last one. I'm so sorry.
You're feeling summer.
I told you guys, maybe I'm not gonna be on the board anymore, so I better get these out. But I would love to look at our class size policy and see how class sizes are determined, and then also if what strategies we might have to either lower class sizes or create alternative class sizes. Just because we know that class sizes impact learning, and as we're trying to build a culture of excellence and improve our test scores, class sizes might be a big factor of that. And then I'll stop talking.
I think we as a board need to look at what happens tomorrow night in Sugar Grove. Because my reading of the agenda, it looks like a ham-handed approach to blackmailing us by Conan and some of her lackeys on the board. No other way to put it. It's out and out blackmail. You do this, we'll do that. We need a response and a coordinated response.
On the agenda, it's slated to withhold or attempt to withhold land cash from us because of potential litigation, which is kind of nuts, but my opinion.
It's against the state statute too. I mean, it's typical of Conan. Apparently state law doesn't matter to her. Well, no, really, this is, I could make a reference in popular culture, but probably shouldn't. After the meeting, to a certain Sopranos.
Okay.
Agenda item, I think it's something we have to respond.
Consensus?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I think we need to revisit which fire district covers Kaneland High School, the changeover of leadership and uncertainty and the lack of their referendum passing. I don't know if we come back and have the same conversations we had previously to see if now that they might be willing to hand over the reins to Elburn, or if we're comfortable and confident with, them using the Maple Park ambulance, if everybody's still good on that, but I think we should revisit now that Chief Tyndall's gone and, a lot of things have changed from what was kind of initially promised to us or discussed with us.
Yeah, I'm curious why Elburn Countryside wasn't even considered, why they just jumped over to.
Yeah, so I think it's worth at least a conversation amongst us, just to make sure that, again, the high school, the staff, the students, everybody, they got the best coverage for emergency care, whatever that may look like.
Correct, and evaluate on our own where we think our best service would be.
And we can bring back some response times to Kaneland High School and some other information to help inform.
And also quality of response. Advanced life support, critical,
And while we're here, elementary homework policy, I brought that up a couple of meetings ago, where that looks at, because I think it is, I've been looking at the data independently, and not just in Illinois, but it has a huge impact on learning throughout the high school experience, so wanting to implement more.
Yeah, so we did have some initial conversations, and we can definitely come back with some ideas. It's one of those things we definitely want to get both staff and community feedback on. It's not, unless the board feels otherwise, it's not something I want to rush. I'd rather do right. So it was something we had planned to kick off in the fall, having the discussion, really working through the process, doing the research, getting the feedback so that we can implement something that we believe is going to be the right decision.
and then making the curriculum available online.
Yep, that's.
Along with supporting materials, especially elementary, K through, well, EC through 6, if not high school too. Because I'm having communications with different community members who the frustration is just building at how long this is taking. Well, how long this has been going on and how long this is taking. And frustration is starting to boil over. We need to address it. We need to be transparent with our curriculum, have a top quality curriculum with supporting materials available to our community.
We did get some feedback from CAC on what types of things they would like, so I think that was a very productive conversation. And then as we update things, we'll be getting it up online. But we can definitely share what that looks like, where people can find it and all those things.
So you were, between Edmund and Bob, those things, so it sounds like you have kind of a timeline in your mind. Is there something that you can share with us at some point? I'm not asking like now, but at some meeting, like, hey, this is the timeline of like, we want to implement this committee, or like Edmund's point, so that
Yeah,
take
I
what
think-
you're
I think,
thinking
yeah,
and put
we're
it out
also-
so we
yeah,
know.
We're also in the process of the changeover in the department, and so wanting to make sure that, Dr. Horn has the opportunity to help lead that, meet with his team to talk about how we move forward the right way.
Yeah, so that's kind of my point too, is that it's in your brain and it's with Dr. Horn and stuff like that. You guys obviously have a timeline. We just want to be able to speak to the community too and be transparent. It's like, hey, we're hiring somebody, that's going to take us a little time but then we have this timeline to this timeline and this stuff like that. So it is on your to-do list, but it is going to take several months for us to get to it.
But time is of the essence.
We anticipate bringing a candidate to the next board meeting.
Okay.
If everything goes according to plan.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anything else? We're good? Okay. Public comments. Anyone signed up?
Oh, did you
That's okay.
I didn't put my name on there, but I thought of something and I have something else. So, as to the naming, I also have been doing some research into that, and the policy as it is, which says you may consider geographic features or locations, famous national or international figures, local individuals who are deceased, events or characteristics that have been important to the history of the school district. And I think that piece is key to the individuals who are deceased, because our football field is not named. It was named after someone who was definitely not deceased when it was named after him. And I don't, we possibly have similar ideas about some naming things, but there's definitely a big one, and there's going to be a big push. And I will like to have that policy adjusted. So, and I know you guys are talking about that. So, just let you know. Also, on the 26th, and I had it in here, but now it's gone. We have our Kaneland Peterson Prep track meet for the boys. And as you know, we couldn't have that last year. We are super excited to have it back home this year. And all of the coaches around the area are excited to be here as well. So I would, once again, like with Cross, I would like to invite all of you, and if I could find, there it is, okay. I'd like invite all of you and everybody out there to come to that track meet. It is Saturday, April 26th. The field events will start at 10, and at 10:30, there's going to be a Hall of Fame honoring our 50th anniversary of the 1975 state champions, and which was our first state champion as a track team. And they'll also be honoring the 2014 track team that has been inducted into the Hall of Fame, and they tied for first at the state meet. So at 11, we'll start running. So come on out, see how amazing it is, and be a part of these adults and kids who are coming back to be recognized here on that awesome new track. I'm just going to keep saying that. And I can't wait until we start our plans so that the speaker system at that awesome track, everyone can actually hear it. And the scoreboard, the time actually works, and it's actually set at the right time. So there's still things to be done, but people are excited. We are really, really excited. And I look forward to also helping the people who weren't excited about this to be instructional to them and keep them, help you guys prove we're doing what we're supposed to be doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Would anyone else like to speak tonight? Public comment? Going once? Twice? Okay. The Board of Education is scheduled for a closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act Section 2C1, 2C9, and 2C11. Julie, the augmented are in there, right?
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Where there will be no action taken following the session. Therefore, after we vote to go into closed session, the recording of tonight's meeting will be concluded. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss Illinois Open Meetings Act 2C1, 2C9, and 2C11 at 7:47 p.m.
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kleisner.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Cook.
Aye.
Mr. McCauley.
Aye.
Dr. Lawler.
Aye.
Mr. Mankowski.